Stop killing servos, okay? It's basic electric. It's DC. It is super simple. And if you think for a second this has got a 75C discharge rate, you're wrong. You're really wrong. And I'm going to prove it. I'm going to prove it to you in this video right here, right now. Plus, I'm going to mess with temperature. If you don't know about temperature and LiPos, get ready to learn something. I'm going to show all that to you right here with a good old ESR meter. Let's get to the table. The issue with killing servos is you're starving them for power. It's that simple. Look at this one, 45C, right? Look at this one. Let me zoom in. 80C on this one, 75C here, 5C here. You know, this one's probably truthful. 30C here. You know, probably not that far off. 35C. This one's a little bit exaggerated. And once again, there is no such thing as an 80C battery or a 75C battery or a 120 or whatever fake number they put on the label. It's all marketing. Let me introduce you to the LiPo ESR meter. This is a simple device. It measures the internal resistance and gives you the C discharge, the maximum safe discharge, not the burst, and it gives you the amps. This is stuff that you can pull for maybe, 4 or 5 seconds or so, because these little batteries, they don't have a lot of capacity. I'm going to show you. I know this is a video about servos, but I'm doing the batteries, and I'm showing the batteries because most of the time, I've worked on a lot of things my entire life. A lot of your problems are power related, and the power issue is from the source. The source for us are these tiny little batteries. So that's a focus as well, along with the servos. This particular battery right here is at almost 12 volts. I'm going to set it up, push this. All right, we're going to set it for 700 milliamps since it doesn't do in the 50s. Right there. There are no thousands. So there we are, capacity set to 700. Watch this. You plug this in right here. This will give me all the information that I need. We're going to go into one cell right here. That cell is 3.994 volts. You ready for this? 17C, 12 amps. This means all you've got is 12 amps sustained. And right now, the temperature of this battery is 70 degrees. That's important. Just stay tuned. The next cell, let's look at this one. 17C right there. Let's check the last cell. 17C. This is actually a well-balanced battery. But see this 12 amps? You got 3 cells. Each cell is good for 12 amps. How many amps do you have? I'll let you think about it for a second. Okay, you're done. You have 12 amps. That's all you have. Batteries in series only multiply volts, not amps. If you want more volts, you put batteries in series aiding. Boom. Negative, positive, negative, positive, negative, positive. And say you got 10 volts, 10 volts, 10 volts, you got 30 volts. Guess how many amps you got? You got 12 amps. Why? Because these cells are only good for 12 amps. When you have a chain, the chain is going to break at the weakest link, correct? Guess what you got right here? Same thing, just electric. If you want more amps, put the batteries in parallel. How much voltage do you have right here? Let's see. At 10 volts, 10 volts, 10 volts, you've got 10 volts coming out. And if you got 12 amps, 12 amps, 12 amps, guess what? You got 36 amps out. That's the way it works. It's that simple. I know some of you guys are going to post novels and paragraphs after all your calculations and all that mess. I get it, okay? I've had the classes. I've been doing this for a long time. More than likely, I've got more electronics education than you do. I am simplifying this down so everybody can understand it, including you. Simple as that. When you have all these batteries in power in series like that, yes, you do have a higher power factor. I simplified it, okay? But I'm trying to simplify this to make this as easy for everybody to grasp. But now, let's continue. Before we get into temperature on these batteries, if you don't know about temperature and LiPo, you really need to stick around. I've got servos. I have done servo tests, quite a few of them. Some of these servos, like this right here, can pull a lot of amps, but some of these right here can actually pull 5, 6, and 7 amps under heavy, hard load like what we do when we're crawling. And this isn't a burst, a split second load. This is a sustained load because you're pinching your tires in the rocks. You're pulling your truck, hanging on one tire. It is a sustained load. And if all you have is 12 amps available in your battery right here, guess what? 6 of them are gone if the servos are pulling 6 amps. What do you have left? You have 6 amps left for your motor, for your drive, which is also pulling. And generally speaking, your ESC is going to pull a little bit harder than what these do. And guess what? These are going to end up with lower voltage, especially on a direct battery. I want to clarify on the amp pull thing. You don't push amps. You do not push amps. Look it up, Google it, look for the legit sources on this. If the motor needs 10 amps, you've got 12 amps to work with. If your motor is pulling 10 amps, you got 2 amps left over. If at that time your servo is, kind of idle along, you're not doing much, only 1 amp needed, guess what? You're good to go. But if you got to turn hard and throttle, guess what? You're now pulling, let's just say you need 20 amps. Well, guess what? You got 12 amps. You're not going to get it. So what can you do about that? Well, you put a 4S in for your ESC and your drive and all that, but you put a good BEC in there. If you set this at 8.4 volts, guess what? You now have 16 volts to get 8.4. This is a much more stable system than just running direct power, especially when you're running a tiny little battery. Hopefully you're getting this, because the issue, generally speaking, is not with the servos. I read about the regen mode on the drone ESCs. I get that. So you put the diodes in. Some guys were really complaining about diodes and trying to blame everybody else other than their own servo when the problem was their own servo. But regardless of all that, regardless of the ESC, I'm looking at batteries and servos right here. So let's get into some temperatures. I want to show you guys what temperature does to a LiPo. It's cold outside right now, and I'm seeing all kinds of servo failures. Why? Because you're using a tiny little battery to power the whole truck and you don't have enough amps. How can I say that clearer? Okay, you got it? Hopefully. I'm going to show this at room temperature and what the discharge rating is on this battery right here. Cell number 1. 3.85 volts. We are 16C. 16C, what's the temperature? 71.2 degrees. You see that? Let's check the next cell. So as you can see, this battery is only good for about 11.2 amps at this particular temperature. Look at that milliohms. You see that? Pay attention to that. We're at 29.4 milliohms. That absolutely is a high reading. Just so you know, I have race batteries that when at proper temperature, you're going to see that. Remember, temperature. You're going to see that number drop for high temperatures and rise for low temperatures. Just watch. Are you ready for this? Watch this. Look at that. 30C, 8.56 milliohms, 21.6 amps. Do you see this? That's temperature, guys. That is what temperature does to batteries. Look at that. So you're out there running in the cold. I will show you that in just a minute with this very same battery. But I want to check these other cells just to prove my point on the temperature. So if you guys have a hot battery and you have this much available, 30C, 8.96 milliohms, that's still high for a race battery. Honestly, it really is. But 21.6 amps. We've just about doubled everything, and the battery temperature looks like about 80 right there, about 102, roughly, let's just say probably 100 degrees. And I put it in boiling water in a Ziploc bag. Let's check that last cell. 29C, look at that. That is what temperature does to battery. Now, when I freeze this battery, you're going to see something completely different, and that's probably what you guys are doing to kill your servos. You got to think, people, smarten up. The exact same battery, let's check that temperature. 38 degrees, 65. Looks like the core, though, down in there, you can see. And the outside might be a little bit hotter. Yeah, look at that right there. Right down here in the corner. All right, let's plug this up. Are you ready for this? This is going to wake you guys up that temperatures matter. More so than just, you know, having gloves for your hands. 3.84. Look at this. It doesn't even pick up. It is so far off. We're going to let it warm up naturally until we can get something. This battery here absolutely would fail. It is so cold. The battery's warmed up a little bit. I mean, it was absolutely useless. Same battery. Let's see here. We're back up to 16C. It's warmed up a lot. 14C, 10.4. So this battery here, when it got cold, it said the heck with it. Look at that, 33.404 milliohms. I spent a lot of time on batteries in this video when this was a servo video, but like I told you a few times in the video, most of your power problems come from the source of the power, and direct power servos, well, guess what? You guys are having a fit and you're blaming all the wrong things. It's your battery choice. Get a bigger battery. And I know not everybody can fit an 850. Not everybody can do that. But I also showed you parallel. You guys with these little 280s, can you put 2 batteries in? Maybe add a little ballast, balance that thing out to double your amps. That would more than likely fix your problem. I mean, it's simple. You just got to look at the basics of electronics. If the power supply is no good, you've got nothing good the rest of the way down the line to the motor, the servo, the whatever the load is, okay? You just got to think and use some common sense. Once you figure that out, man, you guys will have good running trucks. But you can take that 4S with the BEC, the Reese, or the Castle, whatever it is, your choice, and you can actually have a better signal for your servos as far as your power source, because you have 16 volts powering 8.4. You got a little bit of room there, okay? Amps, voltage, I realize there's a lot of really technicalities in here, but I'd really try to make this as simple as possible. Hopefully you guys can get your stuff figured out and go out and crawl and have a good time. But if it's cold, hey, warm up them batteries. That's all I got to say. Hopefully you have a good day, guys. If you're still watching, you are top shelf. You are the cream of the crop, the pick of the litter. You are phenomenal. Thank you for watching to the end of the video. It means a lot to me. Now, down below, there are links for the products you see, also for channel memberships. If you guys want to be a part, channel members get early viewing on pretty much everything that I can. So, guys, check that description. There's a lot of info down there. Thank you all for watching.